Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. And today we're diving into something that's really got the business world buzzing, and that's the growing influence of AI and how it's shaping the future of business, and, well, specifically one huge investment that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty eye-popping.
Right. We're talking potentially $500 billion.
Wow.
We've got a couple of great articles here from AP News and PBS NewsHour, and they both lay out the details of this joint venture called Stargate. It's formed by OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT, Oracle, the database giant, and SoftBank, known for their deep pockets and bold investments. So their goal with this venture is to raise a staggering $500 billion to build out the infrastructure for AI.
Yeah, think about data centers on a scale we haven't really seen before. Popping up in places like Texas, fueled by their own dedicated power plants. It's like they're laying the foundation for a future where AI is as essential to business as electricity or the internet is today.
It's mind-boggling. And they're not messing around. They're starting with a cool $100 billion, which is already a huge commitment. But the potential is there to reach 5 times that amount.
Yeah.
It really shows you how much these companies are betting on the future of AI in business.
And it's not just any companies. We're talking about a real powerhouse trio here. OpenAI bringing the cutting-edge AI tech oracle with its massive database expertise, and then you've got SoftBank with its, history of, making these big splashy investments. This is a convergence of tech innovation, business savvy, and serious financial firepower.
Real dream team, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just some, Silicon Valley tech play. This has major implications for global business.
Yeah.
And speaking of bold bets, remember WeWork? Well, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, he's involved again. So is this a smarter bet? I guess only time will tell. But it's definitely got everyone talking.
Yeah, and the political angle of this announcement is pretty hard to ignore. All 3 companies' leaders were right there with President Trump at the White House when this was unveiled.
Talk about a power move. It definitely sends a message that the government sees AI as a key driver of the U.S. economy.
Yeah.
And, Masayoshi Son even echoed some of Trump's, golden age rhetoric, suggesting that AI is going to fuel this, this future of prosperity.
Right. But amidst all the hype and, the talk of a golden age, we have to remember that this massive build out of data centers and power plants for AI, it was already happening. In fact, PBS NewsHour pointed out that this project actually dates back to the Biden administration.
That's right. And before Stargate was even announced, financial firms were estimating that over $1 trillion would be invested in U.S. data centers over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So is this venture truly groundbreaking, or is it just savvy PR?
That's the million-dollar question, I guess. It definitely highlights the competitive landscape, though, especially that race between the U.S. and China when it comes to AI development.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the promises, the potential of this whole Stargate project. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, called it the most important project of this era. Those are some pretty strong words.
Yeah, bold, for sure. But maybe not entirely unfounded. I mean, think about it. If AI is harnessed effectively, it could revolutionize so many industries.
Right.
Everything from personalized medicine to, more efficient supply chains. The possibilities for businesses are pretty vast.
Larry Ellison, Oracle's chairman, he even hinted at connections to digital health records and mentioned the possibility of personalized medicine like custom cancer vaccines.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a game changer for the healthcare industry, I don't know what is.
It's definitely a tantalizing prospect, right? Imagine AI analyzing your unique, genetic makeup to develop a vaccine just for you.
But, as exciting as personalized medicine sounds, it's important to remember that it's still early days. There's still some pretty big scientific and logistical hurdles to overcome before it becomes commonplace.
Right. We need to temper those expectations a little bit. But even with that in mind, the potential impact of AI on healthcare and really on businesses across all sectors is undeniable, especially with Oracle, a company that's already so deeply involved in managing healthcare data, being a part of this whole initiative. Exactly. And that's what makes Stargate so interesting to analyze. It's not just about developing new AI technologies. It's about figuring out how to integrate those technologies into existing business frameworks and figuring out how they can create real tangible value.
It's like we're on the verge of a new industrial revolution, but with AI at the helm. The question is, are businesses ready for such a dramatic transformation?
Yeah, that's the real challenge. The technology is evolving incredibly fast, but, adapting business models, retraining workforces, making sure that ethical considerations are addressed, that's going to be the real test for companies navigating this new AI-driven world.
So the future is full of possibilities, but it also demands that businesses adapt and evolve quickly. This massive investment in Stargate is a clear signal that AI is no longer a futuristic concept. It's here, it's impacting the business world right now, and it's only going to become more prominent in the years to come.
And that brings up a really important point. What does all of this mean for businesses on the ground? The ones that aren't, directly involved in developing AI, but will undoubtedly be affected by its growing influence.
Exactly. This is where the rubber meets the road. So let's dive into that next. So we've talked about this AI wave that's coming, whether businesses are ready or not. But how will this actually play out, across different sectors?
Yeah.
What are we going to see?
Well, let's take manufacturing, for example. AI can really optimize those production processes, improve quality control, even predict, equipment failures before they happen. That all translates to some serious cost savings and increased efficiency for businesses.
So it's like having this, superpowered manager overseeing every aspect of the factory floor.
Yeah, in a sense. But AI's impact goes way beyond the factory floor. Think about customer service for a second. We've all encountered those, chatbots on websites. Is this a sign that human customer service reps are on their way out?
That's what a lot of people are worried about, right?
Yeah.
Being replaced by robots.
It's a valid concern for sure, but the reality is probably a bit more nuanced. I think AI-powered chatbots can handle those basic inquiries. The FAQs provide those quick answers, and that frees up human agents to deal with the more complex issues, the ones that require, empathy and critical thinking.
So it's less about replacing humans altogether and more about augmenting their capabilities.
Yeah.
Making them more efficient and allowing them to focus on those, higher level tasks.
Exactly. It's about collaboration between humans and AI, each playing to their strengths. And this applies to a ton of other sectors, too.
Like finance, for example.
Yeah.
I've heard about AI being used for fraud detection and investment analysis. Is this going to shake things up on Wall Street?
Oh, absolutely. AI can sift through mountains of data to identify patterns and anomalies that might point to fraudulent activity. And it can also be used to develop investment strategies, even manage entire portfolios.
So those, high-paid fund managers might be sweating a little bit right now.
Maybe. But again, it's not necessarily about replacing them. It's about using AI as a tool to enhance human decision-making, to make those decisions more informed and more efficient.
And what about President Trump's decision to overturn that Biden-era executive order on AI safety standards? Does that throw a wrench into things, into the gears of responsible development?
It's definitely a significant development. That order was aimed at establishing guidelines for AI focusing on things like mitigating bias, data privacy security. While some people argued that it was too restrictive, overturning it without a clear alternative plan definitely creates some uncertainty.
So it's like hitting the gas pedal on AI development without making sure we have the right safety measures in place.
In a way, yes. And this is where the conversation about responsible AI becomes really important. It's crucial for businesses, policymakers, and really society as a whole to work together to ensure that AI is developed and used ethically.
Because as powerful as AI is, it's ultimately a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It all depends on the intentions of the people using it.
Exactly. And that's why this conversation about the future of AI is so critical. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the values and principles that guide its development and how it's deployed.
So what does all of this mean for the average person? Those of us who aren't CEOs or tech geniuses, but who are going to be impacted by these changes?
That's a great question. And it brings us to one of the most important aspects of this AI revolution. The workforce AI has the potential to automate a lot of tasks that are currently being done by humans. And this raises concerns about job displacement and the need for workers to adapt and acquire new skills.
So are those, sci-fi movies where robots take all the jobs? Are they not so far-fetched after all?
Well, it's not quite that simple. While some jobs will definitely be automated, AI will also create new opportunities. The key is to focus on skills that are difficult for AI to replicate, things like critical thinking, creativity, complex problem-solving, emotional intelligence.
So focusing on what makes us uniquely human, those skills that AI, at least for now, can't quite grasp.
Exactly. And this means that education and job training programs need to adapt as well. We need to equip the workforce with the skills they'll need to thrive in an AI-driven world.
It sounds like this AI revolution isn't just about technology. It's about a fundamental shift in how we think about work education and the skills we need to succeed.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for businesses to be proactive in preparing their workforce for this new reality, investing in training reskilling programs, creating a culture of continuous learning. These things are going to be crucial for navigating this changing landscape.
So while there are valid concerns about job displacement, there's also a huge opportunity for businesses and workers to embrace these changes and leverage AI to create a more efficient, productive, and ultimately more fulfilling work environment.
I completely agree. And this brings us back to that central question. What kind of future do we want to build with AI? One where technology serves to enhance human capabilities and create opportunities, or one where it leads to widespread displacement and inequality?
It's a choice we have to make collectively. Businesses, policymakers, educators, individuals, we all have a role to play in shaping this future. And with this massive investment in AI infrastructure, the stakes have never been higher.
It's a pivotal moment, but amidst all the uncertainty, one thing is clear. Understanding the potential impact of AI on business is crucial for navigating this uncharted territory and ensuring we create a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts and a provocative question to leave you pondering. And we're back, ready to wrap things up on our deep dive into AI and its impact on the business world.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride, exploring this $500 billion investment and what it could mean for the future.
Absolutely. We've covered so much from the potential benefits of AI in different sectors to those, very real concerns about job displacement and ethical considerations.
And I think one thing that's become really clear is that this isn't just some futuristic tech. This is about, right now, AI is already shaping the business world, and this investment is just going to speed things up even more.
Exactly. Which brings us back to something you said earlier, that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Right. And that's the big question we need to be asking ourselves. What kind of future do we want to build with this technology? What role do we want it to play in our businesses, in our economy, and society as a whole?
It's like we're at a crossroads. On one path, there's the potential for incredible advancements, increased efficiency, all these new opportunities. But on the other path, there are those concerns about the potential downsides.
And that's why this conversation is so crucial. We can't just blindly embrace AI without thinking about the consequences. We need to be really thoughtful and deliberate about how we develop and use this technology.
So what does that look like? In a practical sense, what can businesses actually do to make sure they're using AI responsibly, ethically?
Well, I think first and foremost, businesses need to be transparent about how they're using AI. What data are they collecting? How are they using that data to make decisions? And what are they doing to mitigate potential bias in their algorithms?
Transparency is key, right? It builds trust with customers, employees, and the public.
Exactly. And it also allows for accountability. If something goes wrong, if an AI system makes a decision that's unfair or harmful, there needs to be a way to trace back how that happened and who's responsible.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about having those ethical guidelines and governance structures in place.
Precisely. And that's where collaboration is so important. Businesses, policymakers, ethicists, the public. We all need to work together to create this framework for responsible AI development.
It's a complex challenge, but it's one we can't afford to ignore. The stakes are just too high. The decisions we make about AI today, they're going to have a huge impact on the future of business and society as a whole.
I couldn't agree more. And that's the message I hope our listeners take away from this whole conversation. AI is incredibly powerful, but it's up to us to decide how we use that power.
So as you go about your day, think about the role you want AI to play in your life, in your work, in the world around you. Because the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in that.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the ideas that are shaping our world.